Things might get weird.
Yeah.
Welcome to our life.
Hey guys, Hayden and Jessica here. We just wanted to do a quick intro before the podcast starts and let you know that we did do a name change a few episodes in. It's kind of funny, but we changed it. We were going to call our podcast the KaiCast, and now we're calling it the Hewlett House Podcast. That is the official title and name of our podcast now. Jessica had a really cool idea to do amateur advice, or a little amateur advice segment in our podcast, and the way that works, it's really simple. We'll have you either DM us on Instagram or through a Google form, and you just send over your story and your question, and we'll put it on the podcast and give the best amateur advice we can, unprofessional, right?
Exactly.
And do you want to let them know where they can find us and submit that info?
You can find us on Instagram, either under my name, Jess Hewlett, JessHewlett, or Hayden at Hayden S. Hewlett, S is in Scott. Or we started a new podcast or a new Instagram for our podcast, and it's THH Pod, the Hewlett House Podcast. So you can find us on any of those. And like he said, you can find our link tree on any of ours and
our accounts in our bio.
Yeah, in any of the bios. And that'll have the link tree where you can fill out the Google form if you want. It has a link tree to the actual podcast on Spotify, on Apple. So make sure you go on there, check it out. Give us all the information you need or would like to ask us any questions. And
the Google form lets you be anonymous, but you can put your contact info in there. The link to our link tree is also in the show notes, so you can find it if you just, whatever app you're listening to this in, you can just click on the description and it'll be in there. So
yeah. And we know that sometimes to be vulnerable and to be open, we want to be a safe place. And so sometimes that means that you want to be anonymous. So we want to give you that option. But again, you're welcome to DM us directly as well. So make sure you subscribe to the podcast too, and so you don't miss a thing.
And vote. If you want to give us 5 stars, go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Vote, subscribe, tell your friends, and thanks for listening.
Yes, thank you so much for listening.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another podcast. Right now, we're calling it the KaiCast. We've had such a hard time naming this thing, but we're going with the KaiCast because Kairos, as we learned recently, is we want to talk about defining moments in our lives. And we're going to interview Jessica Hewlett, and I'm Hayden Hewlett, her husband. We just started this podcast. Say hello.
Hi.
And just want to talk about Jessica and growing up. So our first episode, we covered who we are, how we met, a little bit about growing up and stuff, how we're different in some ways, but
why we wanted to do this podcast.
Yeah, our big why. And yeah, we want Jessica to just tell us her story about growing up and what it was like and some of her defining moments or experiences. And
because Kairos is a defining, or Kairos moment is a defining moment.
Yeah. So tell us, Jessica.
Okay, well, I was born on June 29th of 1986. Just kidding. So I was
You were born on that day.
I actually was. That was not a joke.
Yeah.
The way I said it, that was the joke.
Yeah, we're very unscripted here.
I hope you got the joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. So I was born and raised in Alpine, Utah. I came to a family of 4 boys. Andy, Matt, Mike, Brennan. Yep, me. And I was the first girl. And as all good brothers should do, after having 4 boys and then finally receiving a sister, especially a sister of my caliber, they Paul revered themselves around the neighborhood, letting everybody know that they had a sister. You're welcome.
They were excited.
I broke the mold.
So what did they do to Paul revere you?
They literally knocked door to door. It was like kind of like Halloween for them, because every door that they would knock, people would be so excited that they would like give them treats and candy and be like, "Oh my gosh, we're so excited for you."
Really?
Probably more so excited for my mom.
Yeah.
But they were all so excited.
Yeah.
And I think I was worth the wait.
Yep.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay. So I was the first girl, but then there were 3 more after me. So I had 6 blood brothers, 1 blood sister. And then when I was 2, we had a foreign exchange student come live with us named Albert Kano. Shout out, Al. I love you so. He came to live with us. I think he was 16 as a foreign exchange student, like I said, and he just kind of never went home.
Where was he from?
He was from Chihuahua, Mexico.
Albert, you're awesome.
We love you.
Love you, man.
Love all of my brothers and sisters. I love my sister-in-laws. They're like my sisters now.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, your whole family's super awesome.
Yeah, I grew up with a great family. All very kind and loving and thoughtful people.
So 8 kids total plus Albert, really, which is
7 in Albert.
Oh, sorry. That's right.
Wait. No.
8 in Albert, I thought.
Hold on. Guys, I have to do this way too often. Andy, Matt, Mike, Brandon, Robert, me, Ashley, Tyler. 8 plus Albert.
And Albert, so 9.
Yep,
really,
9.
There's 9 kids. That's why we say you have 9
and
kids in your
and
family.
it's hard because it's like growing up, we always had someone extra living with us. So I could probably count 15 to 20 cousins, uncles. What else? Just like other family members that lived with us at some time or another. So we always had a full house.
Yeah.
Full house. And it was so fun. And like summers were always full of cousin time. We would always have cousins. Like, I remember I'd have cousins come from New Mexico and stay with us for like a month of the summer. Or I went up to stay with my cousin up in Oregon. Shout out to Mandy. Thanks for having Christy and I for like a month or at least a couple weeks.
Yeah.
During the summer. So we're very close-knit family. Extended and immediate. My oldest brother, Andrew Stephen Dollar, love him so. He is 10 years older than me. And then my youngest brother he just turned 27, so 9 years?
He's 27 now?
Or he's going to turn 27, I'm sorry, in July.
Cow. Yeah.
So is that 9 years younger than me?
We're getting old.
Because I'm turning
36.
36. You're turning 37. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so there's a big range there. So I don't know how my mom did it. She's my hero.
Yeah, no doubt.
But yeah, there were lots of us all the time. And she'd always have other people, and it was just like, yeah, the more the merrier. Bring on the party.
Yep.
So anyway, so that's how that's my numbers in my family. And with all those brothers, I worked at the tire shop around a whole bunch of dudes, and I had girlfriends, but I never could get like, I don't know, like unless it was just a tight knit group, like all my other friends, I could do one-on-one with girls. But other than that, like I was only friends with guys just because girls are too much drama. I can't do it. I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I literally had a friend like quote unquote break up with me at one point.
You did?
Yeah. She called me. It was over a guy. Oh. And she was like, we can't be friends anymore. I'm getting my stuff out of your locker. And I said, okay.
Sad.
I know. I just
Were you sad about it, or did you care?
Yeah. Well, I was confused because I don't know how to work with girls. Like I only had guys growing up, and it was like they just beat you. And even though I'm the girl, we just, get a good punch in there or a vacuum get thrown at you every once in a while. Thanks, B. Love you so.
What tire store did you work at?
Big O Tires in American Fork. Yeah, I worked there since I was probably like 13 or 14. Started scrubbing toilets. That's the grossest thing you could ever do to a young child.
A 16-year-old girl. How old were you? Sorry,
like 13 or 14.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
Cleaning
was
up after a bunch
pretty gross. I didn't clean the one out in the bay, like where the workers worked. It was, but still, it still wasn't great. I mean, think about the people, like, I don't know, that come into the tire shop, like all the like construction workers and everything to get like,
no.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
Public restrooms are disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But because I have so many brothers, it's a running joke that like farts are kind of funny. So like there are things being around guys that like, you know, I learned to be okay with.
Yeah.
Public bathrooms I didn't work through that. I didn't work through gross feet. I didn't work through that. But probably because they tortured me with it. But yeah.
So your dad.
But things are good.
Yeah, your dad, Gary, owned did he open that store up in American Fork?
Yeah, so he opened American Fork. That was his first one in Utah. And then from what I remember, I know that okay, don't quote me, but from what I'm trying to recall, I know he owned the one in Orem on State Street. He opened the one in Lehigh as well.
He built that building.
He built Lehigh.
Yeah, the Big O tires over there.
Yeah. He built that one, and then with my uncle, and then there were a couple other throughout, mainly Utah County. I know he had some association with the one in Salt Lake, but I'm not sure what that was.
Yeah, and there was one like out in the boonies. He said he had at one time, and he didn't.
Yeah,
he ended up getting rid of it or selling it or something.
Yeah, so always tires, always cars. Loved classic cars specifically growing up.
Yeah.
Loved going to classic car shows. My first car was a Mercedes convertible, old, I think it was 66 or 7, 60s, mid-60s. Red Mercedes convertible. It was so cute and fun. But the gas gauge just didn't work, so you couldn't go very far. But it was so fun. I loved it. And I still do love cars, have a passion for them, but, being a mom, you kind of just let go of some things. I would wash my car weekly.
Yeah.
Span clean. And now I'm like, I can't take one trip with the 4 children. And
yeah, I used to be really big into that. You always did that.
Oh, my car was
until we had anything. Maddie and Jackie, you were like really good about it.
Yeah.
And then you kind of just gave up.
It's just like Elsa. You got to let it go.
After enough of them. Yeah, puke in the car or spill enough Cheerios, you just kind of get over it. You do a pretty good job.
There's
still.
time. Yeah, I'll still I still have the car wash pass, so I'll go through and vacuum it out and try and do that, like if I can weekly, except for the one that's closest to our house shut down, so that's not helpful.
Yeah, remodel.
But anyway, but it's not what it was.
Yeah.
It's not.
When you started working there, he only owned that AF one though? He had sold all the others, right?
I think in Lehigh too.
Oh, he had that one too at the time. Yeah.
Well, not when I started, but I worked there, and he owned the Lehigh one in the time frame that I worked there. So I worked there actually. So he sold it after I graduated, and I still worked there for a good 6 months or so.
Okay.
With Parley was the owner at that point, and he was so great. He's so cute. But yeah, and my dad went and did something different for a little while, but is now back in the tire business. My tire guys, Lehigh, they'll take care of you. That's mi familia.
Yeah, I got a few siblings that work and have ownership over there.
Yeah,
and they're awesome, super honest, just good people, and it's a nice connection to have as family. Yeah,
no, and they're take pride in their work and pride in being honest and not trying to get your last dollar. So.
Yeah, everybody they tell that,
which is actually kind of funny because our last name's Dollar. Or my maiden name's Dollar.
Yeah.
So
they are good people. I've mentioned it to other people that when I meet new people, we get to chatting and they know that your parents own that. They're like, some people are like, I go there to get my stuff done. Yeah. They're great. And,
makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because I love my family. Them. So
yeah.
Okay. So so I worked with them all growing up pretty much until I went to college, and then started working back with them again after a year or so in college, and then quit everything to be a Mimi.
Yeah.
But so my family growing up, just to kind of give you a background of like who we were, my parents actually met at Ricks College at the time, which is now BYU, Idaho, up in, I said in Idaho Falls.
I don't remember.
I'm like second
Google
guessing myself now.
Someone can Google it.
Hurry, can our assistant look that up, please?
Yeah,
Just
figure
kidding.
it out.
Anyway, so in Idaho, they met there. My mom was from California. My dad lived in Idaho, Arizona, New Mexico. So he's from all those areas, but ended up going to school in Idaho. They met in a performing group, kind of like, what is it called at BYU now? The Young Ambassadors, I think is what it's called. So they sang and danced, performed, did a whole bunch of stuff there. So my parent, anyway, they met there, and it's like this running joke. I tried to get my dad to tell me how he lines it up, but they met going on tour, and like by the time they were back from that tour, which was like a month or too long, or, a few weeks long, they had met, got engaged, and set a date. And my dad met my grandpa when they got back.
Wow.
Yeah, my grandma and grandpa. And my dad actually, a funny story. So my mom, after their first show, like they did a finale show when they got back to Idaho. And my mom jumps off the stage and goes to like give this guy a big hug and kiss. And my dad's like, well, that was the shortest engagement ever. Like, yeah, because it was like shorter than your dating span. I think they actually, like their first date wasn't until after they were engaged, to be like technically, politically correct. But anyway, so it ended up being that guy that she was giving hugs and kisses to was my grandpa, but he just looked really young. And in fact, like when they went to go get married, the people tried to take my grandpa. And my grandma's like, no, he's mine. Like,
yeah,
no.
That's
so my grandpa is just a stud.
Yeah.
So anyway,
and
so
he was a big car. He still is. Yeah. Big car guy.
Yeah. He owned car shops.
California.
Out in California. Yeah. So, and still does car stuff or loves car stuff. But anyway, so, music is huge for my family. They met doing that. My dad plays the guitar. We have many stories of my dad just getting out the guitar and playing. And we would sing. He went on his mission to Bolivia, LDS mission, or for the LDS church. He served in Bolivia and learned the Bolivian national anthem and a lot of Spanish songs. And so we would sing and dance to those. And yeah, we would perform at church a lot. Weddings.
I joke that you guys were like the Osmonds 2.0.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You like this giant family of kids that all sang and danced for the most part.
Yeah, we all did. Like growing up, we I think every one of us, most of us, maybe one or two, weren't in some sort of performing group like that.
Yeah. Was Brandon?
Brandon was, yeah.
He was?
Yeah, I think it was Matt. I think Matt may not have.
Okay.
But he did choir.
Okay.
Matt did choir. But Andy, even when he got back, because we found this like performing group when I think Mike did it for a year, but my oldest two siblings, they didn't. But I think Andy, the oldest, came back and did it. Makes sense?
Yeah. But
for a different company. Anyway, but we all did. We would like tour. We went on tours all over the place. I think some went to, California, Disneyland, Florida, Epcot Center. Those are places that I'd been. I know that I think a sibling had gone on cruises and performed. Anyway, all over the United States mainly. And yeah, music is our jam. We love it. So, and I remember our drives, it was just us singing to the top of our lungs. We had this old RV and just, Neil Diamond rolling through that thing like a boss as we drive down to southern Utah or something,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, and we love it. Yeah, like campfires with the guitar. I think most of my siblings know an instrument, or at least have played some sort of instrument at one time or the other as well. Some are better than others at this point. Lots are better than me at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember a time sitting in the back of I love country music. And I think that like my oldest brother, Andy, he had this love for country music and Garth Brooks. I remember laying in the back. This was before you had to be in a seatbelt. Laying in the back of our old Suburban, and it was raining outside. And so he blasted for us The Thunder Rolls by Garth Brooks. And we were just like laying there watching the rain hit us and screaming The Thunder Rolls at the top of our lungs. Now I'm like, it's kind of messed up that we knew all the words to that song, but you know, gotta love a little Garth.
Yeah.
So, let's see. So, as far as religion goes, we were very religious. We were, we grew up, my grandma or my mom's parents were converts when my mom was really young. They converted to the church. My dad, so both my parents ended up growing up in the LDS faith. And they got married in the San Diego temple. My parents did. And, yeah. And so that was just kind of, we'd go to church every Sunday. We'd have family prayers, morning and night. We would do family night, a family home evening, where we would do every Monday. We'd have some sort of spiritual lesson, have a treat, sometimes an activity. And yeah, church, I remember like getting in trouble if I slept classes at church. Yeah. So, we took it serious. It was who we were growing up. So,
very much a part of, for both of us, our identity, right?
Yeah.
Of who we were. You had callings at church, youth activities. Your parents held pretty good, like, high callings. Were constantly serving in the church.
Yeah. Like everything revolves around, I mean, not in a negative way. I wouldn't say it seemed like a negative way, but like very, very involved.
Yeah.
Church-wise. Yeah.
Lots of hours.
Yeah.
And you throw 8 or 9 kids in there.
Yeah.
Plus all the people you had living at your house.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was the fun
But
house.
it was like, yeah, like even going on vacation, like if we were staying somewhere, we would try and go to church or at least sacrament meeting somewhere.
Yeah.
But sacrament meeting is like the big first meeting for anybody that may not be LDS, where like all the congregation gets together and then we split up into smaller groups to go into classes for specific ages.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we'd at least go to that first.
How is it a vacation if you go to church on Sunday?
Well,
I'm just kidding. Continue.
We were in a different place.
Hardcore.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You're not hardcore unless you live hardcore, so.
That's right.
Tell it, Jack Black. Sorry, hit that. What else? Oh, so yeah, we lived in an area that very concentrated with LDS people as well, like you said, Alpine. Oh, was that in this one or a different one? We talked about how Alpine, the city that I lived in, different one.
You can talk about it.
I don't know. It was a small town, so I think it might be fair to say that like 90% of the people in the town were of the same religion. If not, it felt that way. Yeah. At least. Yeah. Like it was more heard of that you were LDS than not. Yeah. It would have been a bit of an anomaly. Yeah. You'd be like, oh, wait, you're not? Like, oh, it's weird. Yeah. And then the missionaries probably show up at your house within your first week of being there. Yeah. Because everybody, once they find out you're in trouble, here they come. Yep. Coming for you. Anyway, so yeah, I grew up there, went to school all through, I guess I just never left Utah. I never left Utah County. Still haven't, as far as living. I went to high school here, and that's how we met, is in high school. And then in college, I went to, the local community school. It was UVSC when I started, Utah Valley Community Center. What?
College.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Utah Valley Community College.
UVSC. Yeah.
So,
Utah Valley State
yep,
College.
there it is.
Something like that.
Nailed it. And then now, when I graduated, it was UVU, Utah Valley University.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's a lot bigger now than it was.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot bigger than when I was even there.
Yeah.
So, and I think it had a name before that. Some people would tell me.
Yeah.
Anyway, but there in college, I loved college. Like, high school wasn't really my jam. Like, I liked it. It was fine. But I just felt like where I lived and grew up with all these same people, that, like, this was who I was. And I was always just that, like, shy little girl that didn't know wrong, didn't really speak up much, like, I felt like this little, I don't know why, but I felt like once I got to college, it was just like a new game. I could start over and be who I wanted to be, in a sense.
Yeah, a new start.
Yeah.
I think that's
probably, and so, so I got there. I mean, I'm very like, make it work kind of person. And with us having like 15 million children in my family, not really that many. It was expected, like, we went to college and we paid for it, right?
Yeah.
So, I had to figure out how to pay for it. So my first year going there, I took a class called Student Success and found out that you could be like what was called a UV mentor. And you could mentor a class on how and teach them college skill or like study skills, pretty much. And obviously under a professor, right? I would teach a class and help with the class and help around the school, but got really involved at the college. And they would pay for my schooling.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So signed me up. I'm a cheapo, so I was like, oh, you'll do that? Done. So signed up to do that. My senior year, I forgot, let's go back to my senior year of high school. Because I was so close to my cousins and family, my extended family, I actually had 2 cousins move in with me and my parents, my senior year of high school. So one of them was my same age and one of them is a year older. So Christy is a year older. I love you so. She's been my BFF since infancy.
Hi, Christy.
I love you. Anyway, so she moved in with us and was going to UVU. And then my other cousin, Stephanie, love you, sweetie. She was my same age and struggling. She was in a small town in Idaho, struggling up there. So they're like, hey, come on down. So we went to our senior year together, and it was so much fun.
Chrissy, and Stephanie?
Yeah, well, Chrissy was at UVU.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
She graduated. So
but
the
she
two
still
of
lived
us,
there.
Yeah. Okay. So we'd still like hang out all weekends and, do all the regular. But yeah, I like built-in best friends my senior year. It was so great. Yeah. I loved it. I loved every second of it. Well, there were hard parts, living with 2 other chicks. And, there were trials there. I don't know. I should probably get permission before I talk about anything specific. But there were definitely things that I hadn't come across in my life yet that,
Yeah.
struggles that I didn't. Yeah. Like, I feel like growing up, it was pretty, like, straightforward. I didn't have many trials, really. But this one was something that, like, a hiccup that I'd never come across yet.
Yeah, one thing I think you had in your life that is different from, I don't know, probably a lot of people nowadays is, the word that comes to my mind is consistency. Yeah. Like you were born and lived and raised in the same house your whole life in Alpine. Yep. Until you left home.
Well, I actually was 1 when we moved into the house.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
But like, from as far as what I knew, it was the same house.
But that other house was still in Alpine too, wasn't it? Yeah, so you lived in the same town.
Yeah.
Until long after we were married. Your parents still lived in that house.
Yeah.
In Alpine.
Yeah.
And then you had cousins coming to live with you that just had different experiences in life and different challenges. Chrissy's parents are great, and so were Stephanie's. But like, Stephanie was adopted, right?
Yeah, she was.
So that brings on a whole new, I don't know, list of differences that.
Yeah. Yeah. And trials and things to work through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, so we had a ton of fun, but then, college, went to UVU, ended up moving out with just Christy for a few years. And we like lived the same life after we moved out, because we lived together. We worked together. We went to school together. So literally all day, every day. I don't know how we didn't kill each other, but like, I don't know. We're just soul sisters.
And your parents had like a second house in Orem that you guys rented from them with other roommates,
right?
That
was later. So Christy ended up moving with her sister for, I think it was like a summer or something. Back east. Where did they live? Iowa?
Who is this?
Christy went to live with Mandy.
Oh, okay.
In Iowa. I think it was for the summer or something. Anyway, she moved, and then my parents ended up getting a house because we had to move out of the house that we were in. Or maybe it was my brother and his wife at the time. They had a house in Orem, and then they were moving. But my parents like half owned the house or something. And so they're like, well, we'll just keep it and you can rent it out to your roommates. And so I got roommates together and we rented out my parents' house, and I just managed it. So that's how I paid for my housing. So
you mowed the lawn and collected rents and all that
Yeah.
stuff. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I took
Plus
care.
you worked a job.
Plus I worked full time.
Plus went to school.
Plus I went to school full time. Plus I did the UV mentor.
Which was great on our marriage, by the way. Not having that student debt was really nice.
You're
right?
welcome.
Thanks. Yeah.
You're welcome. So I like just, I don't know, like sitting back, I'm like, oh, but like you just do it, you know?
Yeah.
I didn't know any different. So you just do it. So it was great. And we went through a few different roommates there. I had like the smallest room ever. It was my own room, but it literally only fit my bed.
Yeah, it was small.
Well, and I guess I had one dresser, but it was like the bed, dresser, wall, bed, dresser, wall.
Yeah.
So, and for some reason we always communed in that room. So it was like all of the roommates were squished into the teeniest room possible in the whole house. But it was a good time. And we had so many funny, fun, scary, crazy experiences there. But it was fun. Yeah. And then I'm trying to think if there was anything else. Yeah, the UV mentor was huge. UV mentoring was huge for me. Chrissy ended up coming back, and then we lived together again. But we didn't work together because at that point I ended up starting to, did we work together again? No, I don't think she came back to work. So I ended up going up to work with the place that we were working at together ended up closing down, going out of business.
Yeah.
So I ended up working with my dad at the new place that he was doing.
Oh, yeah.
Up in Salt Lake. Was it considered Murray?
Okay.
Considered Murray.
What was the name of the place you worked at in Orem that you and Christy worked together?
Ultimate Electronics, where you always experience more.
So you were there while they shut down, too?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. In fact, we still have staplers and hole punches and tape guns.
From there?
From there.
Oh, that's funny.
They don't make things the same way that they used to, I'm telling you.
Those tape
That's my
guns
favorite.
are garbage.
No, they're my favorite. I love every second of them.
Okay.
That's why I keep them.
I think maybe you...
Oh, and I have a paper cutter from there. Listen.
Yeah, they aren't... Yeah.
Paper cutter, as long as we don't slice our hand on it.
Yeah, Jess is very thrifty.
I am.
So
well, we had so many
there's
children.
Definitely better... Yeah, and I'm grateful for it. I've been the spender in the whatever, but until lately.
Yeah. Well, and
But,
you just like make it work. Like I said, you know, oh, you'll pay for my rent if I do this? Sure, I'll do that. Oh, you'll pay for my schooling if I do this? Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah. No, I would say it's actually one of your great qualities, that you're easygoing. Like, you don't have to always have the nicest stuff, and well, I think it's cool anyway.
Yeah.
You
We
know?
were just shopping last night with a couple, and they're like, let's go to Lulu. And I'm like, okay. And I walk around and I like sticker shock, right? Like, I have a couple Lulu items, but I'm just not like a brand whore, I guess, if you will. I don't know. Is that not all right to say?
That's okay.
Brand snob.
Whatever you want to say. Yeah.
Anyway, and then we were like, we go out and they're like, oh, let's go to Anthropology. And I'm like, people, I am an H&M loving kind of gal. Like, anyway, I felt out of place a little bit, but
Yeah.
I like nice things.
Yeah.
But I just, I don't have to have it. Like, to me, I'm like, if I can spend like $15 on this shirt that I actually like, why do I spend $30 on a shirt that I like?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Anyway.
I have to get out. I'm the declutterer at home. Like, I'm the one that usually isn't too stuck to attach to stuff.
Yeah.
Few items, you know. I'm like, let's just throw that away. And
I wouldn't say that I'm like attached to things, but I hate being wasteful.
Yeah.
Right? So so my grandpa is a collector too, right? Like, he has this little rock garden of little treasures, and he collects model cars, and my grandma collects dolls, and, you know, so they're like collectors. And my mom is like the best organized hoarder I know. Like, and she even, like, we moved her out of the house that I grew up in, and she kept saying to me, she's like, well, what if one of the grandkids needs this for a project? And I said, well, that's a them problem, not a you problem. Like, you don't need to hold on to these things for just in case for them, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, I think you've helped me in that, like, you know, for me though, I would rather take it to donate it than to just throw it out too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think you said it well. Like, organized hoarding, like your grandpa, when you went out to visit him and your grandma before she passed, like, you sent me some pictures, and like, they had a ton of stuff, but it was all like really organized.
Very organized.
It wasn't just like, it was very clean still.
Yes.
Yeah. And your mom always kept a clean place, and yeah. Where, I don't know, I just grew up. I also think it might be like a generational thing. Like, older people, like, if you grew up with less, and or you might need this for another day or some other time, and so I think that that's my view on it. But
make it work or do without. There's like a whole saying about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yeah. So that's how we rolled. Just make it work, make it happen.
Yeah.
And
I'm good to give stuff to DI or whoever, like donation places. The problem I have is, like, I want it out like now.
Yeah.
And half the time it like sits in a garbage bag or a bin or something in the garage or in our car for like weeks, and then I'm like, we just need to get rid of this.
Well,
like, call someone to come pick it up or throw it in the garbage.
Yeah.
That's how I'm impatient.
Yeah, COVID didn't help, because in COVID, like, a lot of the places you had to make a scheduled appointment to go drop off donation stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that, like, really threw a wrench in wanting to just throw more stuff out. But we actually now, like, all around town, like, even at my kids' school and stuff, there's like a clothing drop off. So that's been helpful too, if it's clothes that we're trying to get rid of. And with our children,
all their clothes,
we go through clothes pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Because our oldest is 11 years older than our next daughter.
Yeah.
And so they don't wear the same clothes. And I decided long ago that I'm done. I don't want to do hand-me-downs that far down the line, you know?
Yeah.
So there are things that I'm like, I try and be.
You manage that pretty well.
You've helped me, like, get over, like, I don't need to save every little thing. Like, you know, like my mom, like my youngest brother's 27, and she still has, like, baby stuff, you know? And then granted, she's got like grandkids and stuff at this point, but I remember being like, oh, dang it, I should have brought this. And she's like, I've got one.
Really?
You know? Or like my brothers will be like, oh, I need snowsuits for my kid. And she's like, I've got some for like these 2-year-olds.
They've
know?
like gone out of style and come back.
Come back, yeah.
Yeah, by that time, right? You kept on
best.
them long enough for them to, or they're at least funny to wear.
Yeah.
Make us laugh. Yeah.
Yeah, cute Laura. I love Laura.
Me too.
And so if we want to talk about like my family, like I love every single individual in my family.
Yeah.
There are a lot of us, but we're all very similar, but also vastly different. I would say that like, even though like, I don't know, I feel like, you know, maybe we didn't communicate as much growing up. I think that was like kind of a era thing.
Yeah.
That people didn't communicate as much.
Yeah.
But we are all kind of people pleasers. So we probably wouldn't have, you know, brought up too much dirt anyway.
Yeah.
But I could say that like we all know that we would be there for each other no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter, you know.
Your family, all of them are very kind, very loving.
Yeah.
Easy to love and like, and they genuinely like want the best for others
and want to help.
Yeah, they're great, all of them.
Yeah.
And they all have their own individual, like you said, talents or differences and everything, and it's really cool to see you guys like have that big of a family. And at least from my knowledge, nobody hates anybody. Like everybody can come together for family dinner, and it's
and like so, you know, there's things that somebody will say or do and you're like, oh, that's just so and so. You know, that's just who they are, but we love them anyway, you know, like and, you know, through the years as growing up and being adults, like we all start to go and have our own lives. But when it comes back down to it, like we had a family, what do you call it?
Meeting?
No.
Family reunion.
We had something hard happen in our family, and it was just like, something hard happened to my brother specifically, and he said, if I could have all of you, he doesn't live in Utah, where majority of us do.
Why wouldn't you be able to share that?
I don't know.
Just share it.
Anyway, so my sister-in-law passed, and my oldest brother's, because then I cry. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, so she passed, and my brother said, hey, if you can, I would love to have everybody here. And it wasn't even a question, you know. He lives clear in Georgia. And it wasn't a question. None of us even batted an eye whether we would be there or not. So
all the siblings made it out.
Yeah.
And some of the spouses. I didn't make it, but
yeah. But we also have little kids, and you know.
I still love you, Andy, and Jesse.
Anyway, so that's my family. Like, my sister, even though she's 4 years younger than me, is my best friend, you know. Growing up, obviously, we fought. She would steal my stuff, even when I was like, listen, you don't fit. You don't fit in that. Why are you taking that?
Jesse passed in February?
February.
Yeah, of this year.
Yeah.
So that was a recent, Yeah. Emotions are still pretty high there, and we love you too, Lexi and Megan. You're awesome too. So they have 2 older daughters, both in college. One's here going to BYU, right? She's still going to BYU?
Well, she took the semester off, but she will be going back.
Yep. Nice to have extra babysitters here too. So thanks for all your help with our
My
children.
Kids love her.
Yep.
I mean, we love her too, but
it was a hard time for them, especially because they were just like graduating. They were all very close. Like,
yes.
Super tight family of 4.
But,
you know.
But yeah.
Yep.
We're close. We love each other.
Yeah.
Even though, you know, again, we're different. And we don't all believe the same way we did when we were growing up together. But
still.
But have learned better because of it.
Yeah.
Grown better because of it.
So what you're saying is you have siblings that may not have the same beliefs anymore, but they still show up to support each other.
Yeah. And I don't think that we would question that, but I'm just saying like who, I guess, in general, like, we are different people than we are when we're little and living all together, right? Like, we live life and we have our experiences and we're different. And I mean, belief in religion aside, it's just, we're all, we have, I guess, if we're going to speak religion, like, we have what our parents taught us, and then we learn for ourselves what our truths are too, and who we are and how we want to live our life. But for the most part, like, as far as like who we are to the core, as far as loving and giving and wanting the best, like, that's still who all my siblings are.
Yeah. I think that sorry to put out analyzations, but yeah, that I would say you kind of breezed over this, but a couple, like, a really cool thing is that regardless of where your other family members are, your parents still love them very much and want them around.
Yeah.
And that's awesome, because that doesn't work in every family.
Yeah.
And then what you breezed over was that you don't always talk about stuff, and I would say that's probably pretty normal in a lot of families. Yeah, like I said, I think nobody likes. I don't know a lot of people that really love confrontation, right?
Yeah.
And just sort of kind of keep the peace. You just, instead of talking about it, you just maybe avoid it, or it's just easier not to talk about it. Where I think that's where our families are a little bit different. Like, I don't know, and again, generational thing, but like, sex was like pretty talked about, I think, in my family. Like, there wasn't like,
oh yeah, I know we didn't talk
or
about
the
that.
awkward, or awkward or hard conversations. Like, it depends on the parent and on my side, but like, we're a lot more open. Like, we just kind of talk about stuff, and we were sarcastic too, and kind of mean sometimes and over the top, but that goes for me too.
That was hard for me to get used to.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, it's like, I've been skinnier than I am now, but I'm in better shape than I was for a long time. Yeah. And it's like, you're fat, you're overweight or whatever. And it's just, we kind of laugh and take it in stride, and call it what it is. And I actually really love that and appreciate that about them, about my family. And you have to have thick skin if you're going to come hang around. Like,
in my family, if somebody called you fat or called themselves fat, you'd be like, say 5 nice things about yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you're not.
Probably. Yeah.
Tell me what you like about you.
Yeah. Yeah. It was,
instead of,
and that's Latin culture too, I guess, not the tangent, but I don't know. Argentina, when I lived there, was the same thing. Like, hey, gordo, like, it's fatty. Like, it was like a term of endearment, right? And so I look at it all different, but yeah, it was different. I don't know, growing up differently.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Those are my peeps. That is my life.
Love it.
That is how I was raised.
Yeah.
And then in our intro, I stopped at college because so I graduated. I graduated with my associates come December. Or was it December or no? It was April. Just after we'd gotten married.
Was that it?
Yeah, I didn't walk or anything.
Yeah, you just got
I just got the diploma and called it a day, but I was also pregnant. So Hayden, we met in high school. Hayden and I met in high school.
Yeah.
Dated off and on, but were on right before he left on his LDS mission down to Argentina. And he was gone for 2 years. And I dated. We talked about it. I dated while he was gone, but nothing serious. He got back July. We got married by December of that year that you got back. Yeah. I was pregnant by February. And so then I decided to finish my associates, stop school, because we couldn't afford everything. We couldn't do everything.
Yeah. We were broke after I stopped, especially after I stopped traveling.
Yeah.
As much.
So, and I wasn't going to be able to work as much, so that I could stay home with the babe. I think I worked 2 or 3. Was it 2 or 3? I think I worked 3 days a week at first.
You worked full time till you had Maddie.
Yeah.
And then
once I had her,
it was like 3 days a week or something. And your mom watched her every day, every time. And your mom watched her too. Yeah.
My mom and
That's
your
true.
mom switched off.
Yeah. Thank
And
you so much.
so-
That's right. Sorry, Mom.
I can't
Yep.
even. I don't know why. Like,
You would get up
I can't
super
even
early
imagine.
and go to work,
thank you.
and then I would wake up and get Maddie ready
Yeah.
and drop her off at one of our parents' homes,
Yeah.
go to work, and because you left super early, you got home earlier,
Yeah.
and so you'd pick her up,
Yeah. Because I was
and
at
then I'd
work
come
by
back from
like
work
between 6 and 7, right? Like I would go pretty early,
super early. Yeah.
and then I'd be off at like 3,
Yeah.
and then get home
Yeah.
later. And you would leave probably like around 9.
first, yeah,
or
8.
10. So anyway,
I had to be to work by 9 still. It was like a 9 to
okay.
5, and you were like 7 to 3 or something like that.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, and then actually funny enough, like during that whole time, Hayden's mom ended up getting pregnant,
Yeah.
and she was watching our little one, and she was so deathly ill, and I still feel guilty about it at this time.
Oh my heck. I don't
Because she
even
was
remember
so
this. This
deathly
is how-
sick, and I just felt
Yeah.
so bad. Like hindsight, you know what I mean? Like in the moment, we were just like, this is just what we were doing. But like hindsight, I get it, and I'm like, that was not okay for me to do that to her. So I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Pam. I love you so much.
Sorry, Mom. We owe you a lot.
Oh, so much.
One-
And not just for that.
One interesting thing that was kind of cool. Like I feel like there's been people placed in my life. I really believe that. Like
Yeah.
whether there's a kinship before we came here or whatever we did before we were here, like there are people in my life that were like meant to be here, and you're one of those people. And what's funny is that even though when I got back from my mission, I lived at my dad's for like a month, and he sat me down one day. Dad, he may remember this or not, but this is how I remember it. He said, "Hey man, you gotta get out of here. Gotta have you move out." My uncle Tim, he's only like 4 years older than me, so my parents were like really young when they had me. We'll get into my story later,
Yeah.
but Tim's wife Priscilla had a brother going to BYU, and her
yeah.
parents owned a home over there. And he said, "Hey, Patrick,"
Over in Orem.
who I still know and love Patrick. Yeah. It was over in Orem, and they had a room open,
Yeah.
and my dad. The only money that I remember him giving me after my mission, he let me drive the car, but I put all the gas on a credit card. Like I had credit card debt forever.
Because of that. That was
And that
crazy.
was the beginning of it after, yeah.
Yeah. Or I guess I shouldn't say because of that, but like it started with that.
Yeah, I just had I had spent all my money buying extra food on my mission. I didn't feel like I tried to eat good. I always wanted to eat well. And so every month I was pulling money out of my personal account to like buy more food or have my mom put money in or my dad or whatever. Mostly my mom, I'm pretty sure, would put extra money in my bank account here and there. But until I got a job and my dad let me drive that cool old Bronco around that was lifted. It was kind of fun.
Red one.
Yeah, so he took care of me, got me in, and helped me get a car, and he gave me a check for I got prorated rent when I moved out.
Yeah.
Anyway, that house that I moved into with him, it was a townhome in Orem, coincidentally ended up being in the same ward that it was a singles ward. So for unmarried people like college students, they go to singles wards and they can meet other people, and the church wants you to
Same age.
Yeah, it wants you to get
Group.
married. Yeah, you become a menace to society after so many years, right?
If you don't
is
get
what
married.
they say. Yeah. So it's really encouraged to like get home from your mission, find somebody, get married. Like we really kind of followed the freaking what they taught us.
We were the best
Mormon examples ever.
Yes.
But it ended up being in the same ward that you went to, that you were
so
going
even if
to.
like when you came home from your mission,
Yeah.
even if we didn't like hook back up, we would have been in the same ward.
Yeah.
Or like we would have crossed paths again.
Yeah. In church, like
at church,
even though we were both like
we would have known.
yeah.
At all.
Yeah, if we had stopped
'Cause I
talking,
didn't-
we would have showed up to church one day. But the other
Like
thing,
I knew Patrick, but I didn't know that he was related to
Priscilla.
which is your aunt.
Yeah.
And I didn't, or like that he was her brother, right?
Yeah.
And I would have never put that together.
You didn't know that they were? Oh, yeah, because
No, I didn't know that.
they were related until I got home.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
you moved in with him, and I was like, wait. And I saw a picture, his family picture on the wall, and I'm like, wait, Priscilla?
Yeah. Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. No. Is that right?
I thought maybe you knew that they were related to Priscilla before I got home.
Maybe I did.
But it
maybe
was just
that's because
coincidental
I was like,
that
I
you were
remember
living in the
seeing a
same ward
picture.
and that I ended up there.
So I must have gone over there one time before and seen that picture and be like, oh my gosh. But then you moved in, and maybe I didn't realize that he was the one you were moving in with.
Because his other brother lived there too before I did, right? And then he moved back to Arizona or something.
No, they both lived together there.
Yeah.
From what I remember, Brian.
But when I moved in, Brian had already moved out or something.
Or maybe Brian was moving out and that's why you could move in.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I didn't like the singles wards anyways, so most Sundays I would just go to my dad's family ward.
So maybe
I would pick you up.
I probably would have gone to hang out with like Patrick and Brian and been like, oh, he's your roommate.
Yeah, because you guys hung out too, right?
Just kidding.
Did you hang out with them?
I don't really. I mean, I know that we like at the activities.
Yeah.
But I remember seeing a picture, so I had to have gone over there one time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you
did. Because I
did.
remember seeing a picture and being like, yeah, I know them. Like knowing Priscilla and Tim because they were in the picture together.
Yeah. So anyway, it was kind of funny.
Anyway.
That we ended up at the same place and then.
Well, and your parents were from the same area my parents were from. Like we never really like crossed paths until high school.
Yeah.
But we were always intertwining.
Yeah. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So we never collided until high school.
Good thing I got in trouble so we could chat.
Little trouble pants.
Yep.
So anyway, but yeah, so then we, got married, had kids, did all those things.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
And here we are.
Here we are.
We'll go deep dive into some other defining moments. Later.
Yeah.
Other Kai moments.
Yeah. Kairos.
They're Kairos moments.
Mm-hmm.
That's technically the term.
Yep.
So yeah, that is me.
Thank you. Anything else you forgot or need to mention?
Nope. I love you.
Okay. Love you too.